Good morning. Thank you once again for joining me with Story Time with Joyce. And last week we read half of chapter 17, which is called Three Boys, Lions, and Tigers. And today we will finish the chapter. And I'm just reminding you, I'm reading from my book, Betty. So let's see what's going on. Arvin's business was flourishing. He went from selling alcohol to selling sex. Some of the cops he was serving his home brew to came to his new place of business for a little recreation from time to time. He had built-in protection from being raided. Lori and Arvin were getting along very well. Too well. He did not sample the wares of the girls. However, Lori got more than free rent from Arvin. During one of Arvin's early morning coffees with Lori, she asked, "Arvin, does your wife suspect that you're fooling around on her?" "No, she is so into the three little boys that she's taking care of and too tired to pay attention to anything when she gets home. She makes supper, we all eat, the girls clean up, then she spends time doing whatever she does," Arvin responded casually. "What about your girls?" "Ruth is always out with her boyfriend, and Carol spends time helping her mom with whatever they do. Don't see much of either girl." "It sounds like you don't want to." "Lori, the truth be known, I don't. I'm not sure kids were part of my city dreams," Arvin said, shrugging his shoulders. "Was I?" Lori asked with a seductive smile. "I'm sure you were, only with me not knowing. But I'm sure glad I know now. Why don't you come to my place tomorrow? Girls are in school and Betty is working." "Why? Are you getting tired of being here so much?" "Nah, that's not the reason. I just thought it would be good to have a change of scenery. That's all. Plus you'd get out of the house for a while." "Well, I just might take you up on your offer. I'd like to see how the respectable folk live." "Respectable? Huh. We've been bootlegging since the beginning of Prohibition, and now I'm in the hen house business. I'm not sure that would be considered by some folks very respectable." The next day, as usual, Ruth and Carol left for school. Arvin left pretending to go to work, and Betty left to take care of the boys. However, this day was different. Arvin came right back to get prepared for Lori's visit, for he knew she would come back. Since Arvin was supposed to be on short hours at the factory, it wouldn't be odd for him to be home. It could appear that he had no work that day. Bases covered. Lori did show up, as Arvin suspected. When Arvin opened the door, he said, "I knew you would come." "Sure of yourself, aren't you?" Lori said. "Just hoping, that's all," Arvin said with a chuckle. "So this is your place. Not bad. Your wife has done a good job with this." "Yeah, she keeps things simple, just like she is." "Where did she do all the bootlegging? This kitchen isn't big enough to handle all the customers you said you had." "The owner gave us some space in the basement in exchange for brew. Sweet deal. Come on, let me show you all the rooms. One in particular I think you'll like the best." Betty was enjoying Johnny, Eddie, and Jimmy, and from time to time would walk them to the zoo. The boys loved the roaring lions and tigers. They would squeal and run when one of the big cats roared. Betty avoided the reptile house since they scared her. They brought back memories of her being chased by that big black snake in Kentucky. She missed her home in the hills, her family, but not those snakes. Monkeys were her favorite. She loved watching them jump and swing from bar to bar. They represented her life. They swung from bar to bar and were free to climb and jump, yet they were still in a cage. Betty felt that way. She was free, all right. Free to watch other people's children, free to raise her own, alone, free to bootleg for her husband, and free to take care of their home, all in the confinement of a life that was designed by her husband. Arvin and his city dream. His city dream was her cage. Just on the other side of the zoo were beautiful gardens. As Betty sat enjoying the flowers while the boys ran around and climbed on the statue of Abraham Lincoln, she could feel tears rolling down her cheeks. The boys were too busy to notice. She had been holding in those tears for a while now. Her thoughts were all over the place. Her internal dialogue was causing more tears. She thought, Arvin was seldom home. What did he do with his time? He said he was working short hours. Was he hanging out with his men friends? Ruth and Carol don't even know him. He doesn't know them. I love him, however, this was her life? No, she was sure it wasn't. I'm living his city dream. Where was her dream? What was her dream? Was she to be fulfilled watching other people's children? Was she to be fulfilled watching certain other people's children? It wasn't bootlegging, that's for sure. Hush, Betty, she said to herself. This is what a wife does. Supports her husband, so stop your complaining. Just as she wiped away the last tear, one of the boys called her name. Hey, Mrs. Jameson, can we walk back to the zoo now? We want to see the lions and tigers. One more time, Johnny asked. Okay, Johnny, then we need to get back home. Your mama is going to have supper ready soon. As she walked back to the zoo, memories of being with Ruth and Carol flooded in. Ruth never really took to the zoo much, but Carol loved it. She loved looking at the giraffes with their long necks and the elephants with their long noses. Carol always wanted to know how long did it take for the food to get down the giraffe's neck. She loved throwing peanuts to the elephants and watching them pick them up with long noses. Betty thought, she is already 10 years old. Where did the time go? Where did all my time go? Once again, Betty's thoughts were interrupted, this time by the roaring of one of the big cats and the squeals of the boys. Betty called out to the boys, Come on now, time to be getting home. Ruth was now 18 years old and didn't get along with her mom all that well. One of the reasons for the current dissension was Carol. Ruth had to take care of Carol until Betty got home from watching the boys. Even though Betty got home earlier these days, Ruth resented her and the time she had to give up watching her sister. Ruth was about to graduate from high school and was already getting excited about being on her own. Betty made Ruth take Carol with her when she went out with her friends, and that was another reason she didn't like her mom. Ruth and her mom never really had a good relationship. There was always something, always a strain between them, even when she was a young girl. She did not hold to her mother's values of helping out with younger siblings. Well, that's it. Next time we get together, I'll be reading chapter 18, and that's titled, Who's That Knocking on My Door? So again, I'm reading from my book, Betty, which you can get at Amazon.com. It's written by Joyce Bennett-Hall. Or you can go to JoyceBennettHall.com and you can get the book Betty. And the second book is Ruth. And the third book, which just came out a week ago, is called Carol. So pick up all 3 books if you'd like to read the series. See you next time. Have a great week. Bye.